Practically every recipe starts with the instruction to saute an onion. In a previous video, we talked about how to chop those onions so that you get nice, evenly sized pieces. Now we want to talk a little bit about what do we do when we actually go to cook the onions. And the first thing we want is a nice, large pan. And the whole point of that is that when we saute an onion, we're trying to brown it nicely. That's what brings out the flavor. If we're using a pan that's too small, all the onions are going to be piled together and they actually steam more than they brown. And there gets a lot of water and steam in there, and that's not a very tasty way to cook an onion. So we want a large skillet. We're also going to heat it up on, say, medium to medium-high heat. On an electric skillet, that's around 350. On your stove tops, it's right in between medium and medium-high. Once the pan gets hot, we pour in a tablespoon of oil. In healthy cooking, we don't need more than a tablespoon of oil. And that small amount of oil is enough to successfully saute our onions and give them plenty of flavor without too much fat or fat calories. Now, if you can see, the oil will get a little slight shimmer as you turn the pan. Can you catch that on the video? But as you let the oil get around the pan, it will have a slight shimmer. It will also get very thin. That indicates that we're just about ready to get, that oil is just about hot enough to saute the onions. We want to catch it though before it starts to smoke. So when we put those onions in, what we want to see them is almost kind of dance around, and you'll hear a nice sizzling sound. And that means that the oil is just perfectly at the right temperature to saute. Oh, and as you put all those onions in, you'll hear that nice sound, and that means your oil is just right. If you put the onions in and it simply, you don't hear any noise at all, your oil is not hot enough. And then what we do is spread them out, kind of separating the pieces. Now there's a really important step, which is to simply leave them alone. So many people have the tendency to stir, stir, stir. And when you do that, what happens is the onions never have a chance to brown and develop that wonderful flavor that we're looking for when you saute an onion. And so what we want to do is leave those and not stir them, but keep an eye on them. And as soon as we see them start to burn, or actually not burn, but brown, then we want to give them a flip and then leave them again. Once you can see that it's beginning to brown, that's when you want to go ahead and flip it, and you can see this nice browning that we're getting on the onions. And that's what we're looking for. That's the point of sauteing. And so we'll go ahead and we'll give it all a flip, and then spread it back out, leave it again, and let those onions brown until your recipe directs. Sometimes they want, this is good enough for a recipe, sometimes they want you to get them completely translucent, and your recipe will instruct you on that, but you're well on your way. If you feel like the onions are starting to burn a little bit, go ahead and turn your heat down though. And the longer they cook, the sweeter they get, and it takes out that raw flavor.